Imagine getting a knock on the door from a social worker ordering an inspection of your own home. Well, it happened to a North Salt Lake mother with 2 children.
Yeah, the reason? Concerns about sex offenders living in her home. News 4 Utah's Marcus Ortiz talks with the mother, who's also an attorney, about how this is affecting the family.
Catherine Cleveland lives in this upscale North Salt Lake neighborhood. She was told someone on her street filed a complaint that sex offenders were living in her home along with her children. She says that's absolutely ridiculous, but now she's under the state microscope.
I would never have a sex offender live in my home.
Catherine Cleveland is an attorney who defends sex offenders in court. That line of work may be creating hard feelings in her North Salt Lake neighborhood.
I'm not just doing anything I can to put them out on the street. If they're guilty, usually the evidence is there.
Cleveland says someone called DCFS claiming sex offenders live in her home along with her 2 children.
If they were unregistered and I had them living in my home, I could lose my bar license. I'd be in criminal charges.
Cleveland says the complaint also was about her child being left alone outside her home, which a new law allows.
It was meant, yeah, children can play outside unattended.
Despite her protests, the social worker still inspected her home.
We are required by law to go and investigate these things because unfortunately, half of the time it is a valid concern and there is abuse and neglect occurring.
A state lawmaker says they don't want to prevent people with legitimate complaints to stop calling DCFS, but...
I think there's a very delicate balance here between civil liberties of the homeowner, and the interest in trying to protect children who may be in harm's way.
DCFS can't talk specifically about Cleveland's case, but the spokesperson says a sex offender living in a home with children doesn't warrant an inspection.
It's terrifying to think they can come to your home and take your children.
Cleveland is still waiting for the final report from DCFS. Meanwhile, Senator Weiler wants answers from the agency whose mission is to protect children. In North Salt Lake, Marcus Ortiz, News 4 Utah.
According to DCFS, of the 30,000 calls last year, 24 were bogus complaints. The spokesperson says anyone who makes a false claim can face criminal charges.